Hey, sports fans. Coach Nick here. Welcome to the live post-game show, NBA Finals Game 1. Kind of a bummer, I would say, wouldn't you? That was not what we had hoped for. And listen, if you're a Lakers fan, great. That's it's a good win for them, and they're a quarter of the way there for the title. But I think most of us want a good game, and that was not what we got tonight. And unfortunately, it was related to injuries. So I don't know. I mean, I had taken notes for the first half and was like, okay, what's the Heat going to do? How are they adjusting? Whatever. Bam got 2 fouls. And that was about it. Once that happened, then the rotations got screwy. That 13-point lead early, which made them look really good, just disappeared. And then, Dragic. The thing about Dragic, by the way, though, he hasn't really looked that good in my mind for 2 weeks. So, I don't think it's an Achilles injury because he was walking around the huddle later, and they talked about Rachel Nichols was saying that he was walking to and back and forth between the locker room. And I think if you had an Achilles tear, you wouldn't be doing that. Now, he might have a slight tear, but they're insisting that it's something with the foot. So I'm assuming it's going to be something about the foot or the fascia underneath. But it's certainly possible that he won't play the rest of the playoffs, the rest of the finals. Jimmy Butler, it looked gruesome, the first injury from the upper angle, the normal angle. And when I saw the replay and all you did is look at the ankle, you're like, oh, the ankle, that's not a complete inversion. It wasn't terrible. But then you look at the knee, and the knee really seemed to buckle there and hyperextend. And then he did it again. Why he checks in with 7.5 minutes to go, down 20, I have no idea. And a simple drive gets his left foot slightly across the midline, steps on Anthony Davis's foot as well. And so the ankle turns a little bit, but the knee, again, really buckled. And to me, it buckles more because the original injury had loosened the ligaments up to begin with. He might not have done much more damage to it than already was there, but I might not be surprised if Jimmy ultimately it misses games because of that. If it swells up later and he kind of realizes how much pain he's in because maybe he kept it warm or whatever. But anyway, so that was really kind of a bummer on that end. So but Dragic hadn't looked good anyway. So to get back to him, so if they get better play out of Herro because he's more energetic and just has livelier legs, maybe that's one way that'll help the Heat in some way. But they needed, obviously, Dragic to be able to get 21 points. They needed Butler to get 25, and he was well on his way. He was really hurting them in that first quarter. And then Bam, the next thing is, remember, he had already hurt his arm and seemed to like kind of get over it. But, when you lead with your shoulder like he did into Dwight to try and initiate contact, it's not always the best idea, right? And, Dwight's a good shot blocker, and he's tough, and it's big. So you feel a need, I better get my body really into him and create that contact to make sure I get fouled. But when you already have, some damage going on in that arm, clearly it becomes a problem, which could very well be multiple games for him as well. And that just spells a sweep and just kind of a very anticlimactic NBA Finals. Which is just too bad. I just like to see, good basketball, and hopefully we can get it at some point. But, well, let's go into the chat here and see how we're doing here. Let's see here. And don't forget, if you have a question, the Super Chat's always the best way to get up to the front of the line and ask the questions there. But, yes, the beautiful Lakers in 3. That math doesn't quite hold up, but it's going to probably feel that way unless the Heat can figure out something to get these guys healthy and back on the court. It's just too much. Because, again, it would have been a really difficult anyway. I mean, I thought maybe they'd get a game or two. And if somehow they kind of got hot over the course of a long stretch, maybe they get, maybe they can, get to a game 7, maybe, but, all those things need to be, have to align pretty perfectly for most of these games. So a thing even like Bam getting into foul trouble in the first quarter can't happen. And that happened, pretty easily. So, now with the injuries, it just doesn't look good at all for the Heat, And, listen, it's hilarious. The Laker fans here and on Twitter or whatever, it's funny. Like everyone wants to think I'm biased because I'll point out something the Lakers did wrong, but then I'll point out 2 things they did right, and yet it's the one thing that's wrong. But you know what? I'm used to that because just about every fan base for every team will accuse me of being biased because this is not highlights, right? It's not a highlight show. You can go to ESPN for that. I'm here to give you analysis, and that might entail showing, something that's got screwed up on a defense, whatever. It has nothing to do with bias. It has something to do with analyzing the game. But I think I don't need to explain that too much to people. Most people know that, but Laker fans tend to be particularly vociferous in this sort of victimhood, and it's interesting to me. But we'll see. Let's see. Let's go in here and see what we have in the comments. Anything that will jump up at me that are interesting? Because again, it's just I just want a good game. That's all. I want like good basketball to watch, and it's just deflating, especially when it's related to injuries. Because nobody wants to see injuries. I don't think. I certainly don't. So yeah, and I even questioned. I didn't realize. I guess the stats why LeBron was still playing with. They got a 20-point lead. There was like 3.5 minutes to go, and I don't know. It just seems silly. It turns out. Let me see. Did he get the triple double? So LeBron got his triple double. Yeah, but wait, no, he didn't. He was 1 assist shy. I don't know if that's true or not, but it might be. He might be chasing the triple doubles from the finals. I don't know if he has anybody else with him, but let's see here. And thanks to Gigolo Puff for being out there again. He's always out there, always moderating. Really great. Talk about Kendrick Nunn. Yeah, I mean, listen, Kendrick Nunn can help them. This could be one of those interesting things where they get banged up and then they got to find somebody else, and he is that guy. He was really good for a lot of the season, but he missed a big chunk, especially in the bubble, and never could get back in rhythm. It reminds me of, I think it was Denver. Dozier had in meaningless minutes in game 1 when the Lakers were hammering them. He played pretty well and then got another shot and then also played really well in that key game that they won, or was that the one that AD hits the shot to win at the end? I think that was that game, but Dozier played well. So I was thinking about that as far as, would Kendrick Nunn be that guy now who, because of that, ends up maybe giving them a boost. So we'll see. But hey, we got a super chat. Wow, thank you. Wow 029. Hey coach, longtime watcher since 2012. Really, that's amazing, but you also make me feel a little bit old. Just a little bit. And I'm still waiting for all my hair to grow back after that. After I shaved it, because of the COVID, not going to a barber. Can you use the music from your 2014 finals breakdown at some point? What was the music? Do you mean like was I using funny music and different like pop songs? Is that what I was doing in the 2014? Let's see. That was when. Let's see. I was actually covering a couple of those games, and then I was in Miami for those, so I can't remember. So maybe shout me out in the regular comments, and I'll try and find it. But Kid Khalifa 415. Thank you. Much love from San Francisco. I love San Francisco. When I first moved to LA in '96. I would drive up there to visit one of my best friends, at least once a month. And if you can picture, back then it was a different city before the whole tech bubble thing. And I always loved it. We used to bring my guitar. I used to hang out and play in Golden Gate Park, and people would come and like dance. It was just an amazing time. What the F happened out there? Well, injuries really is what happened. And then the Bam Adebayo foul trouble got the got the rotations all out of whack. So that was really what happened, I mean, listen, they had a good game plan and they were executing it pretty well. They were really hurting the Lakers' defense. The Lakers actually looked really lethargic and they had no energy on defense. That would change, I'm sure. They were going to pick it up because they always seem to pick it up. And when they do, they're very physical, a lot of good hands, a lot of deflections. But that hadn't happened yet. And, the risk you run in not turning it on early is that the Heat would get confidence. Because remember, they had no experience in the finals. Except for Iguodala. They really had nothing. And so that was, it would have gotten the nerves out of the way. They would have gotten comfortable. I think we would have been in for a pretty good game. But, once that Adebayo foul happened, he came out with like 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Because remember, LeBron comes out around that time anyway. So down the 13, and if Bam could have stayed in there, they might have been able to extend it even more. And then that becomes an interesting thing. So, let's see. How can if the Heat rebound for the butt whooping? I mean, they're gonna. I don't know. I think the Kendrick Nunn thing might be good for them if Dragic is out, and I just don't like the way Dragic has been moving for the last week or two. And even though when he scored well, it's just you can see how hard it is for him. He must be laboring as it is. So that might be okay. And then you know what, Tyler Herro might be okay. Like he played well. But the Bam thing could be the most devastating thing because they don't have size anyway. And I know, it's not going to happen with Myers Leonard and Olynyk. Let's not forget though, Myers Leonard did come through at least once with Portland and had like this huge game, out of nowhere in the playoffs. So you never know. But I think if they're turning to Myers Leonard, who hasn't played, I don't think a second in the bubble at all. So it's like, hey, you haven't played for 8 months in a game. Game 2 NBA Finals. Go nuts. Like that would be really tough for anybody to handle. So I think this is going to probably be over pretty quickly, and we're not going to get great basketball, but we'll see, maybe. Michael Buono, thank you. My goodness, very generous. Been watching your vids for years and love your analysis. Thank you. Could you please explain to me the reason why Solomon Hill currently owns an NBA jersey? Not only that, but can someone tell us in the here? I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the comments here. Someone tell us what he's getting paid, because if I remember correctly, he got a really good contract. Nice guy. Good teammate. He had one like 3/4 of a good year in New Orleans, I think, as before he became a free agent, and that was about it. But you're right. He really, doesn't have a lot of value out there, and it doesn't help that he kind of looks crazy when he's walking around out there. But on a different team, like on the Lakers, Solomon Hill would probably be pretty decent, right? But on this team, they don't have that kind of personnel that would like so outshine. They don't have like the LeBron and the AD, and that's why he doesn't look as good with the Heat. And so he never would be playing without like the injuries and that stuff happening. But it's a good question, Michael. Kintaro Skinner, thank you so much. Canada, would you say the Heat got punked? What does that mean? Who punked them? And does that mean like they got punked because like the Lakers beat them up? Is that sort of what punked means these days? I don't even know. You guys using these kids lingo. I would just say the Heat got beat up. They just got injured, and it was kind of freak out. Not free. You step on a guy's foot, you twist your ankle, you hurt your knee. Did I say that already about the Jimmy Butler? It's the knee that I'm really more concerned with at this point. And that's about it. It's really unfortunate. J Delgado 2216, thank you. Oh my goodness. CRC. What is CRC? Did we already talk about what that is? Because I can't remember what that is. Oh, here. Thank you, Shadeen. Solomon Hill signed a 4-year, $48 million for 4 years. So what is that? That's $12 million a year? No, what's 48 divided by 4? That's 12, right? Wow, $12 million a year. There it is. Oh, you actually said it in there. Listen, God bless him, man. God bless Solomon Hill for every penny he made. Let's see here. Where we leave off? Jay Delgado. Coach LeBron was after. Oh, did someone tell me where CRC is? Let's see here. Oh, Costa Rica. Is that right? Costa Rica? Okay, thank you. Well, mil gracias. Coach LeBron was after the triple-double clearly, but also Miami got dangerously close thanks to Nunn. Without him on the court, who knows? I don't know if I'd call it dangerously close. What did they cut it to, like 13? And there was like 3 minutes to go, and you had Solomon Hill, and he had already taken out all the starters or whatever. I don't know, but okay, fair enough. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one, and that's why LeBron was in. It's fine. Greenway 56, thank you so much. I think you're definitely a friend of the breakdown at this point. The amount of deflections the Lakers get is absurd. Hate to see the injuries happen, but they might have unlocked something with Nunn. 3 to go, Lake Show. Yeah. Again, like that Dozier thing. Dozier played in that blowout against the Lakers in Game 1 and then played well. And then when he got another shot, he actually did even better in a way that Mike Malone probably should have used him more and more often in other games. But yes, the amount of deflections that Lakers get is crazy. The really active hands, and they're also very, very physical. And not that they get away with it because everyone can be physical in the NBA, but it's like they're physical, and then they get the deflection, right? The guy's frustrated, he's off balance, and they're trying to throw these tough passes. So they're really good about that. And if you're going to beat them, you got to be really precise with your passing. Andrew Zhu, big friend of the breakdown. Thank you. Lakers defense all-time great or no good offense. Listen, the Nuggets offense is great. Who else did they play? Portland could have been great, but they were, banged up badly in the first round. And then the second round was, who did the Lakers play in the second round? My mind is blank. Portland, and then they played Denver. Who the heck did they play in the second round? Somebody tell me. Houston, thank you. And then Houston, man, talk about meltdown. But again, the Lakers had a lot to do with that. So This defense is good. I don't know. It's weird. I see some information or some evidence of like the defense not being so great, like in the first quarter of this game, for instance. But they can turn it on, and when they do, it's devastating. They really can take pro teams out of what they're doing. But they didn't have to face an offense like the Warriors had when they in their peak. But that's an all-time peak. So we can't shade their defense too much. When they turn it on, they turn it on. Jack Swan 100. Wow, what is that symbol? I wonder. What is it? Anyone know what that symbol is? That's the squiggly. I feel the Heat should focus more on Tyler Herro on the offensive end. He can clearly deliver, and they will for sure. Tyler looks a little bit like it's not quite my place, and I don't want to overstep my bounds. But he's got to get a little bit of that "fu" mentality, right? Like I am going to embarrass you, and even that dunk he had on KCP that got blocked, but he got hit in the head. Like that was good stuff to see. The referees will start to give him those calls. I think if he kind of. I think he's got to get a little bit different mindset because he can really score, he can pass, he can shoot, he can do everything. He didn't seem that intimidated. So, yes, they need to unlock him more for sure. And whether they're going to wait till next year to do that, I don't know. But it would be really great to see that develop. Let's see here. OG, thank you. My goodness. Hey, Coach, what do you think of Nunn coming in, the Lakers falling asleep at the end, and the Heat cutting the lead to 13? I think it was nice for Nunn to try and get a rhythm somehow because he's just looked so uneven all this time, having looked great during the regular season. But nothing about that comeback meant anything to me. Everyone had given up by then. So it didn't really mean much to me at all. I don't think that Spoelstra would make much of it either. Troy Sousa Semper, thank you so much. Hey, Coach, how come the Heat zone and defense looked way better against the Celtics opposed to LA? Well, Lakers are great, but the Celtics aren't getting blown out. Gee, that's a really good question. So the Heat didn't really play zone much in the first half. By the time they kind of got to it, Dragic was already beat up. I think Jimmy already had hurt his ankle right in the middle of that. And bam, I think it all kind of happened in that same time. So so I don't even, by the time I kind of got to there, we didn't really get a chance to see the zone against with full power or whatever. So I'm going to have to go look through the footage and kind of figure out what the Lakers were doing because I'm trying to think. I mean, I know they got 1-3 with Danny Green on it's just an easy guard forward pass. Butler was just so slow, reacting to that because the guards need to play a lot of, have to cover a lot of ground. They have to be near the guard spot and then have to somehow get over to the wing and cover. And I know Crowder had come up a little bit to shadow, but then bumped down a little early. And then Danny Green was like, sure, I'll shoot this, and nailed it. So they weren't sharp at all today. And I wonder if that was after the first Butler injury. I don't think it was. But again, the Lakers have Anthony Davis, who's going to hover in that free throw line area. And that's going to they're going to be so worried about that the guards are probably going to get sucked in deeper than they would against like Daniel Tice or even when they had Tatum and those guys there as well. So it's a good question of why it was so much more effective. I just think that part of the problem was Brad Stevens. They didn't understand how to attack the zone properly. Until the midway through the fourth game. Now, to their credit, in the Game 5 and Game 6, they lit the zone up pretty well, but it was kind of too late by that point, and then Spoelstra could turn the zone off. So Brian Holiday, thank you. My goodness, Giannis clearly needs to get better to punish wall defense. What are some things that he should focus on? Post-scoring, mid-range game. I think, first of all, post-scoring for sure would be a good thing for him to work on because that could develop faster than his three-point shooting. But I think and you're right, the mid-range game could be something that he could get going a little bit better than the three-point shooting. So yeah, post-scoring for sure should be a thing that they should improve on. But then, his jump shot in general just needs to improve. He needs to be more of a threat where he can score outside of 8 feet. Now he is getting better on the three-point shot. There are moments where he's shooting nicely from back there. A lot of times they're wide open because they're giving it to him, and that will change if he starts making a little bit more of them. But I just think his overall mechanics and rhythm need to improve generally to be better. He's a regular season dominator, but not in the playoffs, and that's a problem if the Bucks fans want to get to the finals. Mayu, thank you. Coach, should the Clippers trade Paul George? Whoa, shots fired. Doc Rivers isn't even cold yet. No, they can't. They traded so many things away, right? Wait, hang on. they signed Kawhi, but they traded for Paul George, right? And they gave away all the first round picks for him. So they can't trade him, and they don't want to. I mean, Paul George and Kawhi are the team, the guys they need to keep together. They need to fix, some personnel stuff. So like JaMychal Green didn't play a lot. I'm actually preparing a video. I was doing it today, and I think I'll release it on Friday about why they fired him. Obviously losing a 3-1 lead and not adjusting was a big deal for Ballmer. And it was also the second time under Ballmer that happened. There just seems some pretty obvious choices that they didn't make as far as, playing Green at center seemed to be a lot better. And then Zubac was much more effective against Jokic than Herro was. But I'm going to make one thing clear. Going through the footage, Herro wasn't getting destroyed by Jokic that much. He really wasn't. There was not a lot of evidence when you look at all of Jokic's field goal attempts and his assists and his turnovers. You don't see a lot of Herro on him, a little bit, and there's moments, but what you did see was especially in the first 4 games, Zubac's doing a nice job. And then once they got past the game 4, that became a little bit less and less, and that didn't make sense. And that cost them the series. They're not going to trade him. They shouldn't trade him. That's the best thing they have coming for them going back, because they only have another year window before. I'm worried about Kawhi and his health anyway, so they might only have 1 or 2 years left of him. And I think that Kawhi after next year is a free agent again, so they got to get it done. Modern Day Jay, thank you so much. Lakers are head and shoulders above everyone else. It's funny because a lot of people were picking the Heat to win the series. The Lakers' 2 players are head and shoulders above everyone else, their top 2. And that's the big key here, right? LeBron and AD are so much higher than anybody else's best players that it doesn't matter what 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are. Okay. And they credit to Coach Vogel for creating this team. Basically, they play like a team and they work off of each other really, really well. So for instance, like I said, Solomon Hill would probably be really good for the Lakers and terrible for the Heat. Just like a lot of the players on the Lakers now would not be nearly as effective. KCP would probably not be as effective as he is. I don't know if Caruso would either. Not playing alongside those guys, they really do help, and it's really a credit to the coaching staff as well to get everybody in the right positions to do that and to perform. So again, I just see a random question. I don't hate the Lakers. I don't know why anyone thinks I hate the Lakers. It's not, if I'm not a big cheerleader for the Lakers, I'm not a cheerleader for anybody. So that doesn't mean I hate the team. It's, I get it as a fan, but that's not how it works. Varun Risbu, thank you so much. How do refs prepare for the game? Do they practice or undergo any training between games? What type of training do they do during the offseason? So what I've seen in the little bits and pieces is they do a lot of, strength and conditioning for sure in the offseason. They need to stay in shape. They need to be flexible. Because remember, they're starting and stopping as much as the players are. And not only that, but they need to be able to keep their core really strong, because while you're in weird positions and you're stopping and you're turning, you got to be able to rotate and get your eyes and see the play at any moment. And so it's not just I'm running, my head straight ahead and whatever. You're running, turned, pivoted, all those different things. So there's a lot of that involved. And for the most part, as far as I could tell, these refs are in really good shape and they're really flexible. And so that's really important. And then I think as far as prepping for the game, they go through the game footage as well. And they're focusing on their calls, but they also benefit from understanding the tendencies of the players are that they do individually and what the teams do. So they get a better handle. So the best referees I've ever sort of observed have been the ones who understand the game from an X's and O's standpoint. So that's important for them too. Not every ref does that, but the refs that do tend to be the best ones. Wow. Well, let's see here. What else can we talk about? Because I know the game, again, wasn't that exciting. Let me check my notes here and see if there's anything else. I'll read you my notes just so I can give you, but I kind of stopped taking them after the injuries. 80 on Crowder. Oh, so this was going to be interesting. They put Davis on Crowder, which I thought was interesting. I thought they would have put him on Bam. And Crowder was getting wide open from corners for threes because Anthony Davis has this instinct to just protect the rim a lot and stay home. So that was going to be a real interesting adjustment the Lakers were going to have to make because Crowder hit 1 or 2 of those. And, I'm not sure I like Crowder's three-point mechanics necessarily, but and he's been wildly inconsistent, but you give him enough open shots like that, especially in the beginning, and then he can probably sustain something like that, for a game at least or two. So that was going to be an interesting thing that they didn't ultimately come to fruition after the injuries broke down. LeBron was on Butler, and that was not going well for the Lakers either early. Butler had, I think 7 field goals in the first quarter, I think. And so that could then in turn tire LeBron out a little bit more because LeBron hasn't always had to guard someone who is looking to score like that. Now, again, does that make me a Laker hater for saying that? No. It's just saying that LeBron was going to have to do something he hadn't had to do recently, and that would have been, again, an interesting thing that they had to figure out and do something with. All right, another super chat. Thank you so much, Delays Apricou. Thank you, my goodness. Oh, wow, they're coming fast and furious. Would the Celtics have had a better chance against the Lakers? Wow. I don't know because how do they match up? You got Tice on Dwight, and then you're going to have Tatum on AD. That seems pretty rough. And then you have to have the Celtics starting lineup. Help me. Who's guarding LeBron? Who guards LeBron in the Celtics starting lineup? Let me look that up because I'm. Where should I go? Let's do this. Stats, team, Boston Celtics. Once the series ends, I'm like on to the next one. I tune it out. But here, I'll just tell you right now. So Tatum, Brown, Smart. Oh, they have to put Smart on LeBron. I think they do that often. But I don't know, man. I don't know how they match up. They don't match up that well either defensively. I don't think. So I don't know how they would have done that. Their hands would have been full. So I think that no. I think either way, the Celtics and the Heat both have deficiencies that the Lakers could really exploit. Kid Khalifa 415. Thank you. My goodness. Can the Lakers others sustain the shooting? Is this like a lost episode? The others? No, they did, and they didn't. They shot 65% from 3 in the first half, and that's including LeBron and AD. I think they hit a couple too, and then it went way down after that. They were like 2 for 11 at some point in the second half. It's just you cannot sustain 65% 3-point shooting that way. I wasn't ecstatic with the rotations that the Heat were doing and how they were doubling. It was too random. They weren't on the same page. You're going to double down from like one pass away. That's too easy to get an open 3. But then again, it's worth the risk because generally the Lakers aren't going to shoot that way. But it bit them in the butt tonight. But I don't think that they'll continue to shoot that way. We don't have there's no evidence of that from the whole season before that. But good question. The snerd, whatever. I hope I didn't butcher it too much. How are you still blaming the refs? Calls go both ways, man. Wow. When did I blame the refs? Anybody? I didn't blame it. I'm not talking about blaming any of the refs. Jeez. When did that happen? I don't know. JDA Dream 1. Coach, my friend Abdul is a big fan. By the way, he got Heat in 6. What a clown, right? He got refs in 4. Sick head. All right. Way to talk crap. Hey, now you got me to talk crap to your friend Abdul. Nice. I don't think the Heat are going to win this series. I don't think they're going to win it in 6. I don't think it'll even go 6 games. But then again, it could have if they wouldn't have gotten hurt the way they got banged up so severely in that first game. Let's see. Bernard, thank you, my good Bernard, thank you. That Dragic injury is 100% the Achilles tear. I don't think it is. It could be a partial tear is about the only thing I can be willing to say on that one because remember they have footage of him walking around the huddle afterwards. They talked about him walking from the locker room to the court and then like stopping and turning around. You're not doing that with an Achilles tear. They wouldn't let you, right? They would, even if they suspected that, they wouldn't let you do that if it wasn't even. So I don't know what anyone else to say. I could be wrong, I guess, and it could be like a small tear and not a complete, a partial, maybe. But even if that was the case and they suspected it, then it's malpractice for them letting him walk around. He should not have been walking around at all. And it didn't look like, it didn't look like that to me. Every time I've seen something like that, they're not walking around like that. At the most, they're doing what Kobe kind of did, which was shuffle. Alex Coupe, but I will acknowledge that the way he looked down, after he heard it looks like what happens with an Achilles. But you know, a lot of times you can see the muscle contract under the skin, and I didn't see evidence of that, but I don't remember if that was the foot. Did he have a sleeve on around lower? That might have been. You could see like around at least the calf area, and you normally would see that. It's very distinct. We saw that with KD. You can see the muscle kind of pop, and I didn't see that, and I was looking for it. Alex Coupe, thank you. Are you pro zone for the Heat to defend better? I think they need to mix it up just to keep them on their toes. So yeah, I'm just worried that they're going to throw it to AD at the free throw line. He's going to turn around and lob it to LeBron, to JaVale and Dwight behind the forwards for dunks. Or he'll just shoot it and nail that 50% of the time and give them a really good points per possession. You know, that's the real problem here. If they're going to avoid, or if they're going to be able to negate the pass to AD, that means the guards are going to be sucked in pretty tight, and that's going to open up shots for them, which, you know, they might be willing to let them have. And that might be their only hope on that one, is that they go cold from the top and the wings. But it's a tough one. This team is suited to beat the Heat without question, to beat pretty much anybody. Quick draw, Chev. Thank you so much. Rondo equals maintain lead or take them out of a hole. Okay. Yes. How did Rondo do? I'm kind of curious. I mean, you know, let's see. 25 minutes. He's only 2 for 7, even though he hit that 1-3 and it looked like okay. But 4 assists. So, you know, it was a bit of a sloppy game by the time, you know, he got probably half of his minutes. But again, he's really vital to them. I mean, you know, there are moments when he's bringing the ball up and that forces LeBron off the ball, where they actually might even look better, you know, than when LeBron doing it sometimes. So definitely a huge thing for the Lakers to have gotten him and to got him back healthy. I mean, he's been a real difference maker across the entire playoffs. They're lucky that they got him. Varun, thank you again so much. Do you think the Clippers will make Ty Lue the head coach and maybe hire Nate McMillan as an assistant? McMillan is a good defensive coach and knows PG. I think for sure Ty Lue will be hired. You know, I just feel like, what are they looking for? They're looking for a coach that's got a lot of championship experience, who relates well to players. They don't have to look very far at all. That's who Ty Lue is. And I even had said this in a show earlier today, that, you know, Doc Rivers, losing his position as general manager in 2017 was the first nail in the coffin. And then I kind of think, you know, when you bring Ty Lue on your staff, you're doomed, because management will just, and it's not because Ty Lue did anything. I think, in fact, Ty Lue and Doc are really close. Doc, you know, gave him his start. But I just feel like the management's going to say, well, listen, you know, we're kind of struggling. We didn't do well here, and here's another guy right already in house we can just, you know, bring up, and who's already won a title as a head coach, in difficult circumstances, which is where they are right now. They have to win next year. So I think that's what happened. Now, Nate McMillan as an assistant, I don't know. You know, that also depends probably on Ty Lue. Although you'd be surprised, sometimes head coaches don't have a lot of say on who their assistants are, or they might have a say on a couple, but not everyone. So it's possible, but I don't know what Nate McMillan's deal is. It was a little bit strange that he left Indiana, but I don't know. Maybe. Let's see here. Christopher Jennings, thank you. My goodness, thank you. So generous. How would you rate Dwight Howard's performance? I don't know. Like, in my mind's eye right now, thinking about it, like I think he got into foul trouble early. Let me look here. Let's look at the stats. 15 minutes, didn't score. 8 rebounds, 2 assists. You know, nothing really stood out for me. You know, for him tonight, which might be a good thing, because he's been standing out for me a lot more recently with all the goon stuff and like extracurricular and fouling and pushing. So that didn't catch my eye tonight. So that's good. But, you know, it's kind of hard to rate, you know, anybody's performance in tonight's game. It really was one of those moments where, you know, those 3 guys got hurt, and the white flag was waving in the third quarter. And so it's just like, who knows what's going to happen. I'm telling you, it really doesn't feel good at all for the rest of the series, in the sense of, you know, I don't know if we're going to get great basketball. And that's too bad. I was looking forward to a really good finals where we could see some adjustments and some epic, you know, ness and some dramatic shot making and that stuff. That's what I want, you know. Let's see. Therod 0981. Thank you. My goodness. Woj just said Miami's scoring. Dragic suffered a plantar tear of left foot. Yes, the fasciitis. So that's, you know, it's funny. If you don't follow BBALLBREAKDOWN on Twitter, which is my buddy Tommy, you should, and follow me on Twitter too if you don't do already. But I was talking to him privately about it, and he was looking, and that's exactly what he thought it was, like a plantar fasciitis tear. That's bad. I believe that would make him he'd be out for the season and, might not be ready for the beginning of the next season. In my mind's eye right now, I'm not a doctor, but my memory, I think, is that takes a long time to heal. Although there's also a thing in my mind thinking that sometimes you get that injury, and when it tears, it's actually better than when it's just inflamed or hurting. You know what I mean? Like something about the tear allows it to heal faster, but I think that's a rough one, especially at his age. Jake McMahon, thank you. Love your content. Keep it up, Lakers in 5. That sounds reasonable to me. Or 4. I don't know. Maybe if Bam and Jimmy somehow get healthy, maybe 5. And then if Tyler Herro and Kendrick Nunn, start playing over their heads, who knows? That's interesting, but it just doesn't feel that way right now. I don't know. I'd have to see some evidence more of that. Neeson Nadu, thank you from New Zealand. Hey, Coach, huge fan of the channel. My question for you is, who do you think will be the wild card for the Lakers in this series? Probably Rondo. I'm not sure what you mean by wild card, but like the X factor, like probably Rondo. He's going to be the guy that's going to get them their 8 assists in 20 minutes and keep it all going while they get the rest for LeBron and AD in various times. But they'll probably have one of those guys on at all times. So I feel like that he could be that guy. Caruso might end up, having stretches too where he's making defensive plays and finishing and hitting some shots, so that he could be that guy too. Guo Yang, thank you so much. Hi, Coach. Do you think that Coach Stevens will be fired? Oh, wow. That would be an all-time shocker if that happened. And the only way that would happen is if they went to like Tatum and Brown and said, hey, like, what do you think? And they said, get the guy out of here. But I can't believe that would happen. So I don't think so. That would be stunning. But then again, Doc was a little bit stunning, wasn't it? I mean, we kind of, if you look back on it now, you kind of can say to yourself, well, okay, maybe because, he lost 3-1 leads twice and he lost his GM position. Like there were some signs maybe, but that would be all-time shocker. So I can't picture that happening at all. BB Coach JW33, thank you, really generous. With all the injuries, will critics put an asterisk by this finals win if LeBron wins his 4th? Love these post-game shows. Thank you so much. And I love them too. I hadn't done one in so long until the playoffs started. I don't even know why. I just sort of been busy and didn't think about it. But it's been amazing how many people are coming into these things, and super chats are really, really helpful. I want to make sure you understand how thankful I am right now with that. Full disclosure, a lot of times, I don't make any money on the playoff games. The NBA claims the money. So this has really been helpful. And listen, it's okay. I really like views. I like the subscribers. Those are all helpful for other things. But this has been really, really helpful. So thank you so much for the super chats. But let's get back to the injuries and the critics and the asterisks. This happens a lot recently, right? So did Toronto have an asterisk because of Clay and Steph? Did Clay went down, KD went down? Like, no, I don't think so. I mean, I think everyone's sort of, they're not going to remember that in a few years. Same with Cleveland when, Kevin Love and Kyrie got hurt. Was there an asterisk for that? Like, probably not. It happens. This is a little bit different. And, obviously if Dragic then goes down, he's out for the series in the middle of the game 1, that's a problem. Like if it was that, and like, it would probably have to be Jimmy and Bam. And then maybe that would end up being something like, oh, like that was just, an asterisk. But the only thing was no one ever really thought this was going to be, that even anyway, right? I don't think. I thought so a lot of things would have to go really, really right for the Heat to compete and maybe overcome the Lakers and win the title. But this now with these injuries, it's not this just doesn't seem like it's possible. So anyway, so that's the question. I think it would have to be like at least 2 of their starters out for the rest of the series for even to consider this asterisk thing. But again, what in 5 years is anyone going to remember? No, they're going to say LeBron's got 5 and that's it. So, Varun, again, my goodness, thank you so much. Do you think that Andre Iguodala would be in the Hall of Fame? He made 6 consecutive finals and has 3 rings. I don't know what Hall of Fame worthy is anymore. I really don't. Some of those people got nominated. I'm like, really? I think we need better criteria for like how you deserve to get in. But finals MVP. He's got 3 rings. Maybe. I think he's probably on the bubble. Because he did have some really good years early on when he was a scorer with the Philly and all that stuff. But he's kind of a buzzkill for me now for the Heat. Offensively, he's scared to shoot around the rim. He's really inconsistent from three-point land. Even his passes were getting deflected a lot too. So I'm worried about him. When he's on the floor, I don't have that same feeling I did like when he played with the Warriors. It's just different. And so, but that that doesn't have to affect his Hall of Fame chances. One playoff series in 1 year out of his career. But I think he's in the bubble. But I don't know. I think it'd be iffy for him. Rockman 11309. Thank you. Do you think the bubble has been harder than regular season? Well, from a coach's perspective, the bubble has to be just a dream. You have your players; they're not going out at all hours of the night. They're focused on the games. You got them captured there where they can't go out and do something. They can rest. So on that end, from a coach's perspective, it's heaven. You want to factor in all the other things. Being there for 90 days, whatever it's been so far for these guys, really not seeing their families that much, not being able to let off some steam is a thing. So that mentally could be a little bit of a problem. But if I was like 24 years old playing in the NBA, being in the bubble on that campus, I would just be having the time of my life, right? I mean, I know you're not getting all the fun part of going out and the girls or whatever, but I most of those guys are probably like gym rats, right? So they would love the ability to do that. So that to me, in my mind, would have been heaven for most people. The guys who have families and kids would be the thing that would be really challenging. But other than that, I think it would almost be easier too. No different arenas. The backgrounds are similar or the same on the same courts. You're not dealing with hostile fans. So in my mind, it would be easier. Alex Coupe, oh my goodness, thank you. Theories for Danny Green's knees, vintage tonight. Wait, why? What was? Oh, did he? You know what? Let me look at Danny Green's numbers real quick. So Danny Green shot 3 for 8. So what does that mean? What am I missing here? I'm going to scroll down if you want to tell me. You want to tell me what the theory for Danny Green's knees? What's the theory? And how is he vintage? He didn't shoot that well. I'm looking. I'm waiting. Someone tell me. No. Let's see here. He was running slow. Why do they even play the games? Give to the Lakers. Would you accept an NBA job? All right. No one's been talking about Danny Green's knees, huh? All right. Do I want to accept an NBA job? I would accept an NBA job that doesn't have to have me travel all the time. If you're like an assistant coach or something like that, you're on the road half of the year at least, and I just can't be away from my family that long. I wouldn't want to do it. But consulting and doing a lot of analysis with shooting and like stats would be something I would definitely want to do, and might kind of look into doing something like that. I actually do this for some people where I do look at how they shoot threes in a way that no one else does, and it's really helpful. And so expanding that would be pretty cool, and that for a whole team would be really great, or even more players. So that's probably that would be my ideal, and that way I can kind of check in with them when they're in town, and then do a lot of work from here. But if I was younger, for sure. D-Raj Ravila, thank you. Who do you think? Who do you predict winning the Finals MVP? Well, that's an interesting question because you have to deal with AD and LeBron, and AD putting up probably better numbers. So, for instance, LeBron almost had a triple-double, but let's look at Anthony Davis. So, Anthony Davis, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. LeBron, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists. So it's like it's going to go down between AD and LeBron, and then if they give it to AD, I'm kind of curious how LeBron's going to react to that because I'm sure he's all out, he's all in for his legacy, and certainly winning another title is a big notch. But winning the Finals MVP is another one he's going to need to try and catch Jordan. I don't think he catches Jordan no matter what, but. So that would be really interesting to see. I would hope that we'd see a really, heartfelt like hugs, and he's so proud of AD and he's so happy for him. That I'm sure that's what we will see. But I would be curious to really get into to LeBron's mind if that happened. But then again, you also have to wonder if it's close. Do the writers, give it to LeBron anyway, thinking that maybe AD will have another chance at some point soon. So. We'll see, but it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see. But it's either one of those two, and I wouldn't be surprised if overall, depends if it's a 4 or 5 game series. I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Davis does turn in the better numbers, which generally influences that vote the most. The Trib one, thank you. Oh my goodness, not even a question, but if you have one, I'll try and grab it and answer it for you. And Gigolo Puff, Coach Nick could fix Giannis' shot for sure. Well, listen, nothing's ever certain, but I think it's pretty clear, like the analysis I've done on that and seen what they can do, what he's doing to it now. I believe I can get it to be better, and that's I think it's clear to me what you could do, and he seems like a real eager guy to want to do that, and so I don't think it would take that long. I mean, it might take a little while, but I think we could fix that and help him. Marcus Powell, thank you so much. Thanks as always. My goodness, thank you. Rockman 11309, random but Lamborghini or Ferrari? You know what? I probably was Lamborghini when I was younger, and I think I like Ferraris now better. I think so. I think I like a little less flash, a little more subtlety to the design, and that would be Ferrari. But they both need to be red, right? Sebastian Nicolau, thank you. Please keep the post-game shows and your B-ball breakdowns. Love them, and there are no good post-games after the finals, so thank you. For sure, listen, I'm going to do this for sure throughout the finals, and then, we should do these, when in the offseason as well and figure out what to discuss. Free agency, draft, all that stuff. I would love to do that. And then, everyone was kind of talking to me about doing the premium part of YouTube where we do, special stuff for you guys. And so I think, it would probably not work if I launch it now, but, for next season, what I'll probably do is I'll launch that where for, $2 or $3 a month, whatever it is, I'll keep it cheap. Doesn't matter to me. I'll offer you, maybe I'll do an extra video a week for you guys and a live show a week or something like that, or 2 videos a month and 4 live shows. Just for you guys who are part of the, it's not called premium. I'm so dumb. What is it called? YouTube something. Somebody tell me that. Whatever it's called. So anyway, I do. Someone's going to tell me. Oh well, membership. Yeah, YouTube membership. Thank you, Gurjat. Okay, where are we? Where do we leave off? Okay. Varun Riesput. Okay, you want to talk about the love the Stanley poster. Oh, okay, great. Thank you. By the way, this is one of my sponsors. It's displates.com. Is it displates or displate? Displate, displate.com. They're really cool. I'm just going to show them to you because I like them. It's not always that I love the sponsors stuff that they send me. But so for instance, this one, these are metal. And you can get them glossy, or you can get them, it still has the plastic on it, which is why it's a little shinier. But you can get them glossy, or you can get them matte. I got them all matte so they wouldn't reflect too much light in the camera. But actually, I'll show you. So, for instance, maybe in honor of LeBron, all right, here you go. You ready? Live TV. In honor of LeBron, I'll take this one down. By the way, this is Martin Luther King doing the Sham God. I know it might be sacrilegious, but I thought it was, I had to get it. But check this out. Take it off. Magnets. Here's LeBron. Let's put LeBron up because they won. Now, that's pretty close. I can't quite tell, but that's pretty close. So, check that out, huh? How cool is that? And you can get some of the coolest designs around. So, Stanley, you can see doing The Office, which is one of those great ones. There's LeBron. There's Dirk behind me there. I have to, one of these days, I'm going to figure out how to be so you can see all of them completely. So, how about that? Now, look. See the Michael Jordan? This is another one that's really cool. And there are 4 of them that you kind of put together because it's bigger than the other ones and it's horizontal. But it's really, really cool. And they sent me a whole bunch of them. So I've been mounting them slowly but surely. So you're going to probably end up seeing on this wall, I'll be taking down some of these guys and putting up other ones. Like you saw the Dame. What else do I have real quick here that's in here nearby? Because they're really cool. I just got to take off the plastic. Are you ready? Oh my goodness. So, I had to get one of CJ. Can you see this one? So this is pretty cool. CJ. So you can see they have pretty cool designs. I'm just going to throw them here out of the way. What's this one? That's not one. And then I had to get a Kobe one, right? In his honor. And you can see it's a cool design. If I can get the not to reflect. Anyway, so there you go. And they're, the coolest thing about them is that, you can just take them down and switch them out, change the, order, whatever, so depending on your mood. Anyway, There you go for Displate. Okay, so let's get to access to super chats. I'm sorry. So am I an Office fan? I love The Office for sure. I actually love the British Office before The Office ever got made in America. That one's a really good one too, but really kind of cringe humor, right? You gotta love that. So yeah, love The Office. And you know what? We could always do live shows about movies if you like. I'm a big movie guy. I used to write screenplays, believe it or not. That's what got me to LA 100 years ago. So the Trib one, Bron's not a selfish player, not selfless either. Won't have an issue with Davis winning MVP. If it's close, they'll give it to LeBron. All that is true. Well, yeah, LeBron is not a selfish player, but he's not selfless. It's, you know what, the Trib one, that's probably the best way to put it. A guy that averages 10 assists a game is not a selfish player, but he will control everything a lot more than other players do, and that could be something. But you're right. If it's close, they'll give it to LeBron for sure. BB Coach JW 333, thank you again. Where did you get the picture of Stanley Hudson on the wall behind you? So there you go, displate.com. It's not so easy to find, by the way. Somebody, one of the guys I work with who gets me my clips, found it and said, oh, this is one you have to get. But it's somewhere in there. I think if you type The Office, don't type basketball, but type The Office and you'll probably find it there. Because I feel like I looked up basketball on their site and I couldn't find it there. But it's hilarious, right? It's such a great one and perfect for my office. So now, and I want to say there's a link. The problem is the link they had given me lasted for like a week, and I don't know if it's still good. But hold off because I'm working with them. I'll probably do another round of ads for them. So stay tuned for that, and there'll be a new link for you, hopefully in the next week. Let's see here. Christopher Jennings, thank you. How many games do you think the Heat will win? I've enjoyed your content since 2012-13. Really? That's amazing. You know what? It really is amazing. I've started this channel 10 years ago. I mean, that's like a quarter of my life. Well, it's less than a quarter, unfortunately. Wait. Yeah, because I'm older now. Nonetheless, it's been a long time. The Heat maybe win one game, maybe. The way it seems, they're already so banged up. I don't see how they get healthy enough to challenge more than one game. It's just too bad. I wanted a good series, like I said. JDA Dream 1. Thank you. Thought on Duncan Robinson having the same points as me watching the game, a donut. Is that how it happened? Yeah. It's tough because he feeds off of the pressure that Butler puts on the defense, that Dragic puts on the defense. You know what I mean? In a way that, when it's not, it's got to be perfect for him. He's got to have all those pieces functioning very smoothly for things to open up for him. They're not going to let him go. They're going to just focus on him and chase him and bump him and all that stuff. It's going to be rough. And then they hunt him on defense, man. I feel bad for that. So they're making him guard LeBron. And that was a thing. Now the Lakers didn't do that in the very beginning for some reason. I guess they're being nice. But once they kind of grabbed the 13, 15 point lead, they're like, okay, where's Tyler Herro? Where's Duncan Robinson? Let's go with 4 switches and attack them. And that's why the zone is going to end up helping them to stop that. But then that opens up a whole other can of worms. So Spoelstra has got his hands full. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do about it. But, without the full roster, yikes. Ken, thank you. What do you think of the job Frank Vogel has done with the Lakers? Has he prepared his team well? Usually LeBron's coaches are more ridiculed. I agree, Ken. I think Frank Vogel has done an amazing job. It really has. Obviously LeBron's got his fingertips across everything, but they also look really well prepared. Their out-of-bounds plays are generally run really well. They do run good sets, and they do have the defense. The defense has really been amazing. LeBron was playing defense in the regular season more than he had in years, and they just are so active and tough, physically tough, so active, deflections. So you got to give Frank Vogel all that credit. And then the biggest thing you could say for Frank Vogel is, again, look at their third best player. Look at their fourth best player, their fifth best player. None of those guys are in the top 5 of the conference finals teams. None of them. But look how well they play together, and look how dangerous they are. And again, it's a testament to how good AD and LeBron are. Anyway, And you know, remember, if you have like Kyrie and KD and a team like that, you know, facing them, that changes some things. You know, so the NBA is going to shift again depending on how KD comes back. But for right now, it's like they're just such head and shoulders above. But the bottom line is we've seen it in the past where not always have the pieces fit as well around LeBron like they do here. And that's got to be a testament to Vogel and what he's done. So it is really impressive. They're going to deserve the title for sure. And Vogel certainly deserves a whole lot of credit. And I hope he gets it. Wow. Well, what do you say? I think, you know, maybe we'll start wrapping this up. We're getting close to an hour, you know, which is, you know, getting to be bewitching time for me. And I guess I have to do a breakdown of this game, huh? Well, I guess I'll just show what the Heat did to get a little bit of a lead, and then what the Lakers did to shut the door, and see if I can do that quickly. But you know, but yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that they're going to win in four or five, like I'm seeing here in the chat. But let's see, any other interesting questions that bubble up here while we're starting to think about wrapping up here. Will the Heat get swept without Bam and Dragic? Right, now, if Bam and Dragic don't play, yeah, I don't see it going longer than 4. And that's just too hard. Even if you get better play out of Nunn and maybe Herro, to take 2 starters like that without any extra time to play and get adjusted to that, that's too hard, I think, for any team. Wow, Guo Yang, thank you so much. Coach, do you think that Kawhi should have joined the Lakers? I don't know. I just know that he wouldn't have liked it. I don't think he would have wanted to play alongside LeBron. And that's just, you know, when at that level, when it's in the top 3 player in the league, you know, you're going to, no matter what, LeBron had been there for a year, he was going to have to be, you know, adjust to LeBron's game. And I don't think he wanted to do that. Now, that said, you know, if Kawhi is going to be injured and his knee is going to be, he just doesn't look right to me. And I don't think it's a specific injury. I think it's the chronic thing that he's always had with his quad. And again, I might be talking out of turn. I'm just looking at what I observe and how he runs. He might ultimately regret it and say, yeah, I wish I would have gone to Lakers so I didn't have to do as much and could have gotten some rings. But I don't know what's going on in his head and where he wants to come on that. Because I certainly feel like he would want to win another ring on his own terms as well. So hopefully they can get that and we can get a Lakers-Clippers conference finals and have that be really interesting. Baroon Riesboot, where do you think Kenny Atkinson will land? That's a good question. I haven't heard his name pop up. We haven't heard about Philly. We haven't heard about it in certainly, you know, here in LA. Yeah, that just happened. I don't know, man. I don't know if he gets hired right away. I think he would probably be good in Philly, though. I think so, but it just feels to me like D'Antoni is going to get that job if he wants it. So I don't know. I wish I had heard his name popping up more. Wait, did they hire somebody in New Orleans yet? Because that would be good for Kenny Atkinson. Did they hire anybody? I don't think they have, right? The only person that would say they got Nash for the Nets, Thibodeau with New York, and somebody else got hired. Nash, Thibodeau. Who's the third coach that got hired? Somebody tell me. Oh, Atkinson, the Thunder. That's interesting too. That might be a good place for him to, develop the players. Low expectations. I think CP3 is gone. They're probably going to not have Gallo, so that's going to be a rebuild. Oh, the Bulls and Billy Donovan, right? So, So I think Atkinson to OKC is a good call. I haven't heard anything about that, but then again, I don't think I've heard anything about OKC yet. So that would be where I go. So good question. The Trib one, thank you. Anyway, Kawhi and PG on Clips in 2022 without ring. Oh, let's see. So where are we now? So we're 2020, 21. We're going to be 2021, 22 next year. So the year after that. So they don't win the ring next year. Are they still together? That's a really interesting question. I believe Kawhi's a free agent. Yeah, I don't know. Would Kawhi leave again and go somewhere else? Maybe. I would say 50-50 on that one. I don't know. 50-50. So yeah, so certainly it's possible. D-Raj Ravila, thank you. Flippers choke this year. PG trader or no? Yeah, I don't think they can trade him. He's got value, so they could, but they've given up so many picks for him anyway to get him that I'd just be really surprised. I think they're going to run it back. with those two guys, tweak the lineups a little bit, do some moves, here and there on the margins, and see if they can't make that work better. So, good question. Nick A, thank you so much. Do you like Tibbs to the Knicks? I don't know, man. I wish he had done better in Minnesota to make me feel better about New York, but it didn't go so well that time. And I wonder if he needs to kind of, and he's a student of the game, so it's not like he's going to, be obsolete with what he does. But I still think that defensively, I think he'll be able to have a good impact there. It's always been sort of the offense in my mind, the issue with him. So, I don't know. I don't have the best feeling now. The other problem is it's the Knicks. It's Dolan. It's the culture. Can anybody do well in that culture? I don't know, man. It's tough. But I'm rooting for them. But I don't feel like I can't tell you, oh my God, it's a no-brainer. That's going to be perfect for them. You know what I mean? Like Kenny Atkinson, OKC, that would make me feel really good. I'm like, yeah, that would work. But this doesn't. I don't have that same feeling. Let's see here. Oh, Sharps Kid Thugga, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Well, listen, I think everyone's kind of coming in fast and furious, but how do I not have 1 million subs? Wait, I have 800,000. I just crossed that, didn't I? I'm almost there. Let me look. Who knows how many subs I have? And I guess I should do something, right? I mean, let's see here. How do I check that? I'm at 796. So I'm gonna get 800,000 soon, But you know what? It's weird. Subs are nice. But isn't it about views? To me, it's about views. How many channels you see now that have like 100,000 subs, but they hit like millions of views each video, like that. Whatever. So to me, I'm almost there, but and that'll be really amazing. But for me, I feel like it's views. I'm losing subs because of politics. That's interesting. When have my politics ever gotten onto YouTube? I mean, I think maybe I said something last week in a live show. But that's about it. I think I might have lost some followers on Twitter for that a while ago, but I would shudder to think that that's because of it. And certainly in the last this year I haven't lost subs hardly at all. Do you think the Clippers made the right choice by firing Doc? So you know what? Sometimes it's just time. He's been here for a while. And yeah, I think so. I feel like they need new blood. They need someone who's going to be a little bit more focused on analytics, and so for instance, he screwed up on some of the lineups, and I kind of got the impression that he doesn't really look at the lineup data. And a lot of coaches don't do that. And it's kind of strange to me because you think you want to be looking at those things to figure out, okay, well, why is this guy not playing as well here versus there? And maybe why are these guys playing so much better here and when? You know what I mean? And otherwise you tend to see what happened with Doc, which would be some of the best lineups they had, then all of a sudden wouldn't play at all. And it's like, where's that from? You're obviously not looking at the lineup data. So that's a big thing. Oh, my goodness. We have another couple super chats. Thank you. Ben Walmer, thank you so much. Is Kemba Walker a top 5 guard in the league? You know what? I don't think he solidified himself in the playoffs that way, no. I think playing on the bad teams, you kind of would put him up there, and he might be one of those examples of, getting a lot of stats on a bad team. He's not bad. He is a legit starter on a conference finals team for sure, like we saw. But I think he disappeared a lot, and I don't know if there's a real great answer for that. I mean, I know he's got to play alongside Brown and Tatum, who are the focus of the offense too. So I think he got knocked down a little bit of a peg, and now he's on a better team. And I don't know if he cares. I think he's really excited he got to the conference finals and on the cusp of getting to the finals, and that's where he wants to be, regardless of where he's rated. As a point guard. But I don't know if you can put him in the top 5 anymore. If you did before. What moves do you see the Lakers doing in the offseason? I think Morris is probably not going to be around. Those guys are a little bit lower value. The 8th, 9th, 8th, 7th guys, they can mix and match and just plug in different pieces as well. So I don't think they lose much if they replace some of those guys. Even if it's like Caruso, Rondo would probably be the guy they want to keep. He hasn't really lost too much of a beat, and he really helps them. But you can plug in a lot of other guys that are available who want to win a title and get that same production from a lot of people. It's funny. I feel like Anthony Davis would win the MVP, but if it's close, if the numbers are close, then they'll give it to LeBron, I'm sure. Okay. Well, listen, guys, we're well over an hour. I think we had a really good show tonight. I can't thank you guys enough for the super chats. Really, just it's so touching to me. I mentioned I do have a Politics podcast, and we have a Patreon there, and it's just overwhelming when people feel like they want to contribute, and it's just as much here. It's just truly amazing. So stay tuned for the membership stuff. I'm going to set that up, but I think it makes sense to do it. When the new season starts. But listen, if you guys kind of rush in here in the comments and tell me, no, get the membership going now. We want stuff, and I think that's what I mentioned. I think I would probably do 2 breakdowns for you guys specifically for membership, and then I would do a live show once a week. That's fine with me. If that would be enough, I think that would be enough. And for literally, I would do it for $3 or $4 a month. Remember, YouTube takes a chunk of that no matter what, so I don't get all that money anyway. So the question would be, do I start it this week or whatever, or do we kind of just, or in the off season when the season's over, or, do we start it when the season starts? Give me some feedback on that, if you want me to do it at all. Don't use Eye of the Tiger. Oh my goodness, Eye of the Tiger is the best. By the way, I forgot how hard it was to edit to that because I wanted to hit those beats in the beginning, and that took a lot longer than normal. But thank you guys, everybody. Let's just run through big shout outs to everybody who did really quickly super chat. So Wow 29, Kid Khalifa 415, Michael Bono, Kintaro Skinner, J Delgado 216, Greenway 56, Andrew Zhu, who's been there for all these super chats, Jack Swan, OG, Troy Sousa Semper, Brian Holiday, Miyu, Modern Day J, Varun Respoot, again, multi super chatter, Delays Apraku, Kid Khalifa, that's Nerd, Jay the Dream 1, Bernard Santos, Alex Coupe, Quick Draw Chev, Christopher Jennings, the Rat 0981, Jake McMahon. I mean, this is crazy how many there are. Nisa Naidu, another Gu Yang, also multiple super chatters. BB Coach JW33, big time super chatter. Rockman 11309. Oh my goodness. D Raj Ravila, The Trib, Marcus Powell, Rockman. Sebastian, you know what? I probably should have thought about this before I decided to try and rattle off all these things, but I think I got everybody. Ken, Nick Gay, Sharp Kid Thugga, and Ben Walmer. Thank you guys, everybody. I'll see you back here again after game 2. Let's just hope it's a good game. Is that not crapping on the Lakers? I hope not. I just want a good game. That's all. But again, thank you guys for being here. Awesome stuff. Great questions. And we'll be back after game 2. So don't anybody go anywhere.